Hello, and welcome to the Blackboard Black Belt Achievement Series, the Grade Center Guru Part 1. In this course, we will be exploring Blackboard's Grade Center. The Grade Center is located under the Control Panel section of the Blackboard Course Management menu. As such, this area is not accessible to students in the course. Students cannot view the Grade Center. If we click on the link to My Grades in the course menu, we will see the instructor's view of the My Grades area. It will only display the Grade Center columns with no grade information since you do not have any personal grades in the course. Here you can view each column, view the descriptions, access rubrics, and see the points possible. Let's take a look at the My Grades area from the student view. First, click on the Enter Student Preview icon in the top right of the course page. Then, click on the My Grades link in the course menu. Students can view all grade items, only graded items, upcoming graded items, and submitted items that are waiting to be graded. Students can access assessment attempts, assessment descriptions, view rubrics, and access instructor feedback from the My Grades area. They can also filter their My Grades view by course order, last activity, and due dates. Now that we know the difference between the Grade Center and My Grades, let's dive into the Grade Center. As previously mentioned, the Grade Center is located under the Control Panel section of the Course Management menu. Clicking the words Grade Center will expand the Grade Center menu. By default, the Grade Center menu includes the following menu items: Needs Grading, Full Grade Center, Assignments, and Tests. The Needs Grading link will take you to a page that lists all of the assignments in the course that are currently marked as Needs Grading. Now let's explore the area where you'll be doing most of your work, the Full Grade Center. The Full Grade Center is organized in a familiar spreadsheet-like format with a row for each student enrolled in the course and a column for each assessment. You'll notice that there are also columns for other non-assessment information like student ID, last access, etc. If the cell has a yellow exclamation mark icon in it like this, it indicates that this particular student has an assessment that is marked as needs grading. You may have noticed that there are 7 menu tabs across the top of the page. We will be exploring most of these menus throughout the remainder of this video series. But for now, let's begin at the first menu and create a new column. Blackboard, by default, automatically creates a Grade Center column for all assessments created within Blackboard. However, sometimes an instructor would like to manually add a Grade Center column for an in-class assessment, such as in-class participation. This is where manually created columns come in. Let's get started by clicking on Create Column. For this demonstration, we're going to create a Grade Center column named Class Participation. You can add a description if you'd like. I'm going to leave mine blank. I'm actually going to leave all the options on this page set to their default values. The only options that are required are the name and the points possible. For points possible, I'll put 10, then click Submit. By default, each column that you add in Blackboard is added to the end. We'll need to scroll to the right to locate the column we just created. Now let's take a look at how instructors can create calculated columns. One of these are already set up for you by default, the total column. You have a few options to choose from when you click on the Create Calculated Columns menu. Average column. An average column calculates and displays the numeric average for a selected number of columns. Minimum and maximum column. A minimum and maximum column calculates either the minimum or maximum grade for a selected number of columns. Total column. A total column calculates the total points for a number of columns related to the total number of points allowed. Total columns are useful for generating a final score. And weighted column. A weighted column calculates and displays a grade based on a selected number of columns upon each column's respective worth of total grade. The available options are similar for the first three, so we can just demonstrate one of these and the other two can be set up the same way. However, the last one, weighted column, is a bit different, so let's demonstrate that one first. Let's say that you want to use a weighted grading system in your course. In the course, you want all of your assignments to be worth 60% of the final grade. You would like discussion boards to be worth 20% of the final grade, and tests to be worth 20% of the final grade. To do this, you can use the weighted column feature in Blackboard. From here, we will click on Weighted Column to get started. We will need to first give the column a name. I'm going to name this one Weighted Column. You can change the primary display option to display either a percentage, score, letter, text, or complete, incomplete. I'm going to stay with percentage. The Select Columns area is where you get to choose which individual columns to select or which categories to select. The easiest way to set up a weighted grade column is to ensure that all of your items in the Grade Center are assigned to categories. Then you can use the categories to select options here. Just keep in mind that if you have items in the Grade Center that are not associated with a category, they will not be included in this weighted Grade Center column. So please be careful with this feature or your students' grades might not calculate correctly. Assuming that all of our Grade Center items are correctly assigned to categories, let's select Assignment from the Categories to Select field. Then click the arrow to the right of that field to move that category over to the selected columns box. Once your category is in this field, you will see that we have to define our options. Let's type 60 in the percentage category field. We can choose to weigh all of the columns in this category equally, or we can choose to weigh the columns in this category proportionally based on each column's points compared to other columns in the category. For this demonstration, I'm going to stick with equally. And I do not want to drop any grades or use the lowest or highest values, so I'll leave these options alone. Next, let's add our test category. Tests will be worth 20% of the final grade. We can set any additional options as needed. I'll leave mine as they are. Finally, let's add the discussion category. Discussion boards will be worth 20% of the final grade. We can set any additional options if we'd like, but for now, I'll leave mine as they are. Now that we have all the categories added, we can look at the remainder of the options. Leaving the Calculate as Running Total option set to Yes ensures that this new weighted column only calculates grades for assignments that have attempts. This allows the instructor to have future assignments in the Grade Center without affecting the student's letter grade, even if the student hasn't submitted anything for that assignment yet. If you choose No, this column will use a value of 0 for any items in the Grade Center that the student doesn't have an attempt. For example, any assignments that you have preloaded into Blackboard for later in the semester. The No option isn't used much, so if you find your calculated grade columns aren't quite as expected, this is a good place to check. I'm going to leave all of the default settings under Options as is. Then, click Submit. We can see that our new weighted Grade Center column is added to the end of the full Grade Center. Now let's demonstrate creating a total column. Begin by hovering over the Create Calculated Column menu in the Full Grade Center. Then click Total Column. We are wanting to create a letter grade calculated column so we can easily see what letter grade each student has in the course. I'm going to enter letter grade in the column name field. Then change the primary display from score to letter. Under the Select Columns area, we can choose which columns to include in this new total column. I want to see the student's total letter grade in the course, so leaving the default value of All Grade Columns option is appropriate here. We also have the Calculate as Running Total option on this page too. Make sure that you have this set correctly. I'm going to leave the default value for all the other options on this page. Now that we have everything set the way we like, let's click Submit. We can see that our new letter grade column is added to the end of the Full Grade Center. Now that we have a few calculated columns set up in the Grade Center, we can decide which one the students will see as their default grade when they enter their My Grades page. This Grade Center column is called the external grade. By default, it is assigned to the total calculated column, which is preloaded on your Blackboard course. You can easily tell which Grade Center column is set to be the external grade, as it will have this little green check mark next to it. Changing the external grade is easy. First, find the column that you would like to assign as the external grade. Then, click the Menu Options icon to the right of the column name. Select Set as External Grade from the menu. Keep in mind that you can only have one Grade Center column at a time set as the external grade. That concludes the first video in the Grade Center Guru course. In the next video, we'll explore how to manage the Grade Center. See you soon in Part 2.